Hi there, welcome back. In our lesson today, we're going to complete what we started. After we configured our workspace on Postman, we want to configure and add some parameters in order to test our API keys. So how are we going to do that? First of all, we will start by creating a new request. We're going to go to collections on the left side. We're going to go to the collection we created, the one that we called test. Clicking on the options over here, we're going to pick add a request. Inside this new window that appeared over here, this is our new request. We can name the request. Now, we need to decide what type of request is this. We're using our API to do what? To get data, to post, to put, to patch, to delete, and there are many other options that we can do. I'm going to go with post. Now we have to enter our URL. The URL is the URL we're going to send a request to. And this URL is actually from OpenAI. So we're going to type the following: https://api.openai.com. But that is not enough. Because we're sending this request to a specific OpenAI model, we have to go to OpenAI and get the endpoint of that specific model. So I'm going to go back to OpenAI's page, to the documentation section, going to the left to click on models. I can scroll down, and as you guys can see, the endpoints of each model. So which model are we willing to use? We want to use the GPT 3.5 Turbo model. So this is the endpoint that we will need to add to our URL. I'm going to copy it, going back to Postman and adding it over here. And that's it. Good. I'll save it. So first of all, I prepared my URL, and then now I have to start by preparing other parameters. Let's start by, for example, sending this request and look at the request we received. First of all, this request has a status that is called 400 because this is a bad request. Why is it a bad request? Look at the message we received over here. It says that we must provide a model parameter. Good. So to add these parameters, we're going to do the following. We'll go to the authorization part. Remember, we have an authorization, so I'm going to add my API key. Remember, the barrier token, that was the API key. So I'm going to add it over here. Good. Then I'm going to go to the body section. In the body section, I have to create a JSON format code. What is JSON format? JSON format is structure of code that actually is used with web application. So we're going to go and click on row, and it's not a text. We want this text to be in the JSON format. And let's start preparing our parameters. First of all, we want to prepare the model, the name of the model we're sending this request to, and then we're going to add the message. Inside these messages, the ones that we will send in our request, we need to clarify different things. What are those things? First of all, we want to know what is the role of that GPT model. What is it going to be giving me? I want that model to play a specific role, for example, to be an instructor in a specific field, such as Python language. So I'm going to send this role inside my request. I also want to send a message from the user. What do you want the chatbot to give you back? So let's go. I'll start with typing curly brackets. Inside those curly brackets, I'm going to start with typing the model. So double quotation, model, and semicolon, and again, which model is it? Let's go back to the models. Our model is GPT 3.5 Turbo. So just type it or copy it and paste it over here. Good. We're done with giving the name of the model. Now I'm going to go with deciding the messages I'm sending. So I'm going to go with messages. And what are those messages? I'm going to open a squared bracket, and because I'm sending actually different messages. The first one is the role and the content of this system itself. So I'm going to go with role. And which role is this? This is the role of the system. Good. And now let's give it the content. But this has to be between double quotation. And what is the content? You are a Python instructor. So by preparing this request, I'm actually asking GPT 3.5 Turbo model to act as a Python instructor and send me a response back to whatever sentence I'm sending as a user. Good. So we're done with this. I'm gonna close my curly bracket over here. This has to be inside a curly bracket, and then I'm gonna copy this and paste it again. But this time is to decide the role of the user. So I'm gonna replace this word over here, system, with the word user, and below I'm gonna write whatever the user needs the Python instructor to do. For example, provide me with a plan to study Python. Good, that's it. So I prepared the model's name, and I prepared the messages I want to send to the model. First of all, remember this has to be between curly brackets, add a comma over here, and this too has to be between curly brackets, and I suppose we're ready. Just make sure I indent everything. I have a curly bracket here. I have to close it on this side, and I'm ready to go. I can click on Beautify. It actually makes my code look nicer. Now let's go again and send our request and see what's gonna happen. And it's taking some time to use my API key to communicate with OpenAI's GPT-3.5 Turbo model and respond back with a response sent from OpenAI. And there it is. It gave an ID to this request, and it's sending me a completion back by the help of the GPT-3.5 Turbo model. And if we scroll down, you guys can see that the content we received is, sure, here is a general plan to study Python, and you can start with the basics, and blah, blah, blah. This is the whole response I received. So by this, we actually tested our API key by sending a request to OpenAI and previewing the response received back from it.